Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 25th of May and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper, all the articles along with the background we are going to take. Now, before starting up, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. And before that, let's first of all see overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here on the first page, guys, we have basically the political article. Opposition parties will boycott the parliament inauguration. Okay, then moving on, one killed, house is torched in Manipur. Not important article. Fine. Here, won't let anyone mar India-Australia ties, says PM. So on this particular direction, we have seen that recently Prime Minister of India had visited the Australia. We will see what are the key takeaways from that particular direction. Okay, then we have these advertisements, etc. that are there. Okay, then moving on, guys, again the entire city section, regional section is filled with the new advertisements, etc. Nothing very much important is there, and then there are these political articles, etc. that are there. Fine, so we will be moving on and directly, guys, we'll reach to editorial section. Now in editorial section, the first article, after Karnataka, more lessons for the BJP. Guys, this is a political article with respect to the Karnataka elections recently that had happened where the Congress had got the majority. Now the article doesn't contain substance. Fine, so please don't go and waste your time in this. A Middle Kingdom. So this article is an important article talking about the recent Jeddah declaration. We'll see this article. Then on the side we have the ties that bind. So this particular article talks about the recent visit of Prime Minister to Australia. So we will take the key takeaways from here. Then brinkmanship. So basically, guys, Republicans should not put partisan goals ahead of the greater public good. Okay, so basically, guys, we have already taken up this particular article of the debt ceiling. Okay, so there is a particular limit till which the US government can borrow the money. Okay, now guys, understand this thing. Almost every country which is oriented towards development, welfareist credentials, they spend more than what they are getting from the taxes and other kind of revenues, and therefore they need to borrow, they need to take debt. Now in USA there is a particular limit till which the debt could be taken, that is $31.4 trillion. Beyond that, the USA cannot take the debt. Now this particular limit, guys, has been extended many times in the history. Now they want to revise it again so that they can take the new debt, but Republicans are using that thing for a political purpose. That should not happen. So this article talks about the division between the Republicans and Democrats and all that kind of a thing. So that direction is not important for examination, but this public debt ceiling issue you should know, and we have discussed it, I think, also basically I think two times I have discussed, but one time I even remember that I have taken a one complete article on that also. The fundamental value of rupee, we'll see this particular article. Then the industrial investments in the Kerala. So the article, guys, is majorly talking about the Kerala with respect to the investment sector that has come out only specifically to the Kerala. If you are preparing for the Kerala specific examination, you can go in this particular article, but for UPSC, not very much important. Fine, because state specific issues are not that important. Export import shrinks across many nations for most of the items. So this article is talking about the different items and the export trends in the different country, China, Germany, Japan, etc. Then coming to the text and context on copyright infringement and AI, we'll see this particular article. Now, guys, we will see that how it is important for examination. Then moving on, mental health awareness month, how to cope up the anxiety. Now this particular article that has come, it is a bibliography article, and this bibliography article, what it does, basically takes the premise of certain books and the views of the authors, etc. is provided. Okay, now guys, when we talk about the mental health is a very important issue, and in India particularly, mental health has often been ignored. Neither government is very much considerate on mental health. Even most of the hospitals in India, they don't have the wards of psychiatry, okay, or psychotherapy. So that is something important. But guys, in this particular action, these particular books accounts have largely been given. Then moving on, after that, Modi must convene talks with Metis, tribal leader, Congress. Okay, basically, guys, a lot of political articles, etc. have been given. However, this is an important article, independence of judiciary. We will take it up. GDP growth expected to exceed 7%. Okay. One more, guys, see, you are not required to track and remember every growth estimate that is being given by the, or for example RBI, it is given by some other agency, global financial agency, etc. Fine. Then further moving on India's initiative G20 to take up effect on graft on women. Okay, so guys, we see this particular thing that in 2023 India is leading the G20, and many of the notable initiatives are being taken up by the India. Okay, then further moving on, how a letter to PMO set off search for Sengal, not important article for much of the examination. Then here India set to triple the speed of its fastest supercomputer. We'll see this particular article. Global body keeps NHRC waiting. Paris principles. We will see this particular article. Fine. China appoints new envoy to US. Okay, so right now the issue between China and USA is going on, where the ideological divides have developed. Okay, so in this direction a new envoy to the US has also been appointed by the China, but these are largely the developmental issues that are going on, guys. Okay, only in the international relation or world page those issues are important which concerns India's foreign policy stakes or the development which will have any impact onto the India's international interest. Fine. Then going to the business page, FDI flows likely to rebound from 24-25. Okay, so FDI is actually they were declined into the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, but they will rebound back. And then we largely have the corporate trends, etc. Not very corporate trends, etc. Not very much important for the examination. Okay, then we have this sports page. So this is, guys, the overview of entire newspaper. Now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now starting up, so this is the explainer notes that you can download, and guys, in every class we start with a GS quotation. So today we'll take the quotation from Woodrow Wilson. Fine. So Woodrow Wilson says that there is no higher religion than human service. There is no higher religion than human service. To work for the common good is the greatest creed. Okay, even we see such kind of key takeaways in India also. Service to God, service to man is a service to God. Okay, so Shri Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekanand were a firm believer in this thing, and even the Woodrow Wilson had said the similar thing, that there is no higher religion than the human service. Ultimate aim of every policy, ultimate aim of every effort, ultimate aim of every developmental program is the human welfare. That is the highest creed, that is the greatest responsibility. We can use this particular idea with respect to the GS paper number 2, governance, as well as in GS paper number 4, ethics also. We can use this particular idea. Okay, now moving on, and let's take the first article for today on copyright infringement and artificial intelligence, on copyright AI and artificial intelligence. Now first of all, guys, this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 3. Okay, so basically freedom of expression, okay, as well as in GS paper number 3, basically issues related to the emergence of new technologies such as AI, artificial intelligence, their implications, impacts. Fine, we will take it up. Now guys, before going on in this particular article, first of all you need to understand little bit of the background of this particular article and what this main thing has been contained in here. So basically, guys, first of all let's understand this particular thing. Suppose I am a painter, I am an artist. Let's say I am an artist and I paint, I paint. Suppose I have made a kind of a painting, or let's say I am a photograph. I have taken a particular photograph. Now this photograph is my own creative property. This painting that I have made, it is my own creative property. It is my intellectual property. I have used it by using my own creativity, my own brain. So therefore, I can avail the copyright on these particular products. I have written a book, I can avail the copyright on that. Copyright means that I have the publishing rights. If any revenue is being made, primarily I will make that revenue. But apart from this particular copyright, there is the fair usage policy. Now what is the fair usage policy? Fair usage policy will be different from country to country. Now guys, basically fair usage policy provides this particular thing, that other artist they can basically other artists, they can also work on these particular paintings, photographs, etc. They can comment on these particular paintings, photographs. They cannot just shamelessly reproduce them, but they can comment on them, okay, and all such kind of things that can be done. Okay, so basically guys, when we talk about this thing, so basically the exclusive rights, fine, of the creator, they are balanced with the right of the users of such work. So other artists, they can build upon them, they can comment on them. Okay, so actually there are a lot of exceptions that are there in the copyright law. Now basically guys, what have happened, this case actually happened in the USA. So basically deliberately I am not going too much in details of this particular case, the comments given by the judges. Why? Because at all it is not important for the examination. So basically guys, what has happened, so there is this basically there is this Vanity Fair magazine case. So there was a photograph by the name of Lynn Goldsmith. He captured a photograph of a famous musician by the name of Prince in 1981. He captured that photograph. Now that photograph, this magazine, that is Vanity Fair, they wanted to publish on their cover page. So what they did, they signed an agreement with this Mr. Lynn Goldsmith, and they took the permission that okay, we want to publish this photograph on the cover of magazine. So they were given the right that okay, basically they were given the right that you can publish it as a full page element and a quarter page element, okay, and the payment was given. Then actually what happened, this Vanity Fair magazine, they hired another artist. They hired another artist, they hired another artist, Mr. Warhol. What he did, basically he created the silk screen print. He created the silk screen print of that particular photograph. Now what do we mean by the silk screen print? So basically guys, you might have seen the paintings that are made on the that are made on some textured cloth, the paintings made on the textured cloth. So that is an example of the silk screen. So he make the painting of that particular photograph, and many different kind of editions were printed. Moreover guys, what also happened, he also made a kind of a pencil sketch. Okay, he made the silk screen, and he also made the pencil sketch, and these particular things have been used. Over and over again. Now basically what has happened, there is this particular case that has been filed. The case has been filed that subsequent neither the payments were made to the original artist, and these particular things have been used. Fine, no specific permission was taken. Will it be coming under the fair use policy or not? Will it be coming into the fair use policy or not? Now this particular case eventually reached to the Supreme Court in the USA, and Supreme Court has ruled on this particular thing. Now guys, deliberately, we don't need to go too much in this detail, but what US Supreme Court has provided this particular thing. They say this particular thing that, see, suppose there is one original work, that was the original photograph, and then there is a secondary work, that is the painting of that photograph that was made. If both of them have similar purpose, and the secondary work that has been done, it is of commercial in nature, fine, then it will not come into the fair usage. Fine, if the secondary work is inspired completely from the primary work, and the secondary work is being used for commercial purpose, it is not the fair use policy. This is, they have given the ruling. Now a question might be coming in your mind that why we need to know all this is about the US case. Now guys, understand this thing. Here comes the role of the generative AI, generative artificial intelligence. What is the generative artificial intelligence? Basically, today you might have heard the name of, for example, the Chat GPT. Chat GPT is a generative artificial intelligence tool. You will give some prompt command, for example, write an essay on capitalism, and it will generate that particular essay. So they are the generative AI. They will generate text, they can generate photographs, they can generate other such kind of things. Now guys, when we talk about these AI tools, there is one particular tool which has become very popular, that is Midjourney. Now what is this Midjourney generative AI? So basically guys, they can make entirely new works of art. they can make photographs, they can make illustrations, they can make paintings. All this is done by the artificial intelligence tool Mid-Journey. So basically guys, for example, as we talk about the Mid-Journey, then there are other these platforms such as Stable Diffusion. What they do, they actually, how they make these paintings, how they come out with these illustrations, they train on the existing text. How ChatGPT gives you answer, it is trained on the existing text, existing information that is there. Mid-Journey, it is trained on the existing photographs. Okay, some of them are trained onto the existing videos, and they learn by these photographs and videos. And therefore what they are doing, the work that is being generated by these generative AI platforms such as Mid-Journey, when the photograph they are generating, it is inspired by some existing work of some existing artist. Okay, this is something. Now whether this particular new illustration that has been generated by the Mid-Journey, can it be basically, can this particular thing be used or not? Can there be a copyright claim that come on this particular thing or not? Okay, so for example, if somebody is using this generative AI tool to create pictures in the style of Mr. Warhol, so Mr. Warhol is an artist. Okay, if in his style he is asking these generative AI tools to make some pictures, fine, then they will obviously be very much likelier to Mr. Warhol. Okay, and now what will happen, it will be, there will be a copyright claim that will come after this particular judgment that has come. Why? Because if the output that you have taken, if it is being used for commercial purpose, and if that output is very much similar to Mr. Warhol's work, then now you cannot claim an exemption under the copyright claim. This is the application, this is the impact of this particular judgment. Now guys, when we talk about the Indian copyright law, okay, so we have the Copyright Act, and in the Copyright Act we also provide the fair usage policy, and now India might also get inspired by this and might bring some kind of a suitable changes. Fine. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now again guys, I am telling you that you are not required to go too much in detail of this case, comments of the judges, etc. Just broadly you need to know that now these generative AI, it will have an impact on the copyright also, how the original authors will be protected from these AIs. Okay, so that the other people don't just make money without using any kind of innovation. So this is the entire issue. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll be moving to the next article. India set to triple speed of its fastest supercomputers. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to technology and computing. Now let me give you little bit of a basic information that is important, and you might even be knowing it. Guys, when we talk about the supercomputers, what are the supercomputers? Supercomputers are extremely efficient, capable and fast machines which can handle a lot of complex operations, a lot of complex data simultaneously. Why we need these supercomputers? A particular application of supercomputers is for weather forecasting. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that how today's weather will be. It will be predicted on many number of factors. For example, the humidity, okay, the temperature, insolation, presence of aerosols in the air, many such kind of things. And guys, actually what has happened, we have the data from many years in the past. So basically what is happening, suppose 50 years back, exactly the same geographical conditions were there as they are today. So 50 years back, what happened just after that? Okay, that we need to analyze, and on that particular basis, that tomorrow's weather or the today's afternoon weather is to be predicted. So how the weather will play, how the forecast of the next 2 day, 3 day will be there, it has to be seen on the basis of the present atmospheric conditions and comparing these atmospheric conditions with the past patterns. Okay, these past patterns could be 20 years past patterns, 30 years past patterns. So basically when the weather forecast is to be done, there is a lot of data, okay, on which the forecast are to be made. Very high calculations, heavy calculations, predictions are to be made, and for that supercomputers are needed. Now guys, when we talk about the supercomputers, these supercomputers speed is measured into the flops. Now what is the meaning of the flops? Flop stands for floating point operation per second. How many operations are being done per second? Floating point operation per second. Okay, and when we talk about the India's supercomputer that now we are installing, we are now going to install the 18 petaflop computer, 18 petaflop computer. What is the 18 petaflop? 18 petaflop, now 1 petaflop means 1000 trillion flops. 1000 trillion flops. These many operations can be done in 1 second. Okay, so 18 petaflop means 18,000 trillion flops speed capacity of this computer will be there. Now guys, this particular things, this high processing power will ease complex mathematical calculations which are required for the weather forecast. Okay, now guys, after this particular thing, India will be able to predict the weather of 2 to 3 months in advance. And see, if we can do this particular thing, we will be better able to predict the rainfall patterns, the emergence of cyclone, etc. And by that particular thing, better forecast warnings. Okay, and if some, let's say, other steps are to be taken, we can do that thing. Now, which is the fastest supercomputer right now in India? So right now the most powerful civilian supercomputer that we have, it is the Pratyush and Mihir. And what is their present capacity? It is 6.8 petaflops. 6.8 petaflops, and now you see this thing, we are coming out with the 18 petaflops, so 3 times more. Now these particular supercomputers, where they are housed, these supercomputers right now are placed at the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune. Okay, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, and at the National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting, Noida. Okay, now these 2 facilities both are affiliated to the Ministry of the Earth Sciences, and the new supercomputers, they will also be installed at these 2 institutions only. Now when we talk about this new supercomputer that we are procuring, now this supercomputer will be imported from French corporation ATOS, and for that particular thing already a memorandum of understanding has been signed by the Indian government. Okay, so this was signed in 2018. Okay, now one more thing guys, that which is the fastest supercomputer in the world right now. So right now in the world, the fastest supercomputer is the Frontier Cray system. It is at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in the United States. And what is its speed? Its speed is 1 exaflop. Now what is 1 exaflop? 1 exaflop is equal to 1000 petaflops. 1000 petaflops. Okay, so India is procuring 18 petaflops, and in USA this supercomputer is 1000 petaflops. Fine. So this is guys all about it. Fine. I hope you understood it, and in the prelims examination also the questions on the supercomputers etc. could also be asked. Fine. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Moving to the next article. Independence of judiciary is part of the basic structure of the Constitution, Supreme Court. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the judiciary. Now basically guys, when we talk about the basic structure doctrine was originally given in the Keshwananda Bharati case of 1973. Basically, what is the basic structure? Basic structure is that particular part of the Constitution which cannot be amended. If you amend the basic structure, then the entire Constitution's spirit will be changed. So basic structure cannot be amended. Now what is basic structure? That will be told by the judiciary from time to time, and they from time to time they come out with such kind of a definition. Now what actually has happened? First of all guys, the independence of the judiciary has already been recognized as the basic structure. Now when actually this particular thing came out very vocally, I will give you one particular example and a specific example. So basically guys, all India, just a minute, National Judicial Appointment Commission as a body was created by the government, which was to recommend the Supreme Court judge appointment. It was to recommend the High Court judge appointment as well as the transfer of the judges of the High Court. National Judicial Appointment Commission was brought by the central government. Now this NJAC was declared as unconstitutional or violative of the basic structure by the judiciary. Why? Because it was provided that right now in the matter of recommending the Supreme Court judges, in the matter of recommending the High Court judges, the collegium of the Supreme Court plays an important role. Now you have brought this National Judicial Appointment Commission. It is diluting the power of the judiciary. Okay, and if the power of the judiciary will be diluted, judiciary will not stay independent, and independence of judiciary is the basic structure. So they violated they struck down the NJSC already. So basic structure के अंदर में, within the basic structure, the independence of judiciary comes. It was already ruled, but now what new has happened in this particular judgment? So basically Supreme Court had said that when we talk about the independence of judiciary, it is not the higher judiciary only, but the independence of district judiciary. Independence of district judiciary is also the part of the basic structure of the constitution. Okay, and judicial independence of the district judiciary also is the important part and the part under the basic structure. Okay, and therefore guys, in the matters of their finance, in the matters with respect to the remuneration, salaries, etc., the judges need to be given more and more power. Understand this thing. If the district judges, okay, they are not given the salaries on time, if they are not given proper remuneration, if the expenses that are needed to run a court are not given on the time, how they will be able to stay independent? So giving a control on the finances is important, and their independence is important. This is now which has been ruled. Now the Supreme Court has also made a very excellent kind of a point. They say that actually district judiciary is the most accessible judiciary to the litigant. Whenever a litigant wants to reach, he will not be able to go to High Court directly, Supreme Court directly, will be going to the district judiciary. And on this particular basis, what has happened, the Supreme Court has given the direction to amend the service rules of the district judiciary, and for payment of arrears of pension, additional pension, gratuity, other retirement benefit, financial benefit should be given to the district judiciary. This will help them in staying independent. Now the Supreme Court has further said that when we talk about the district judiciary, it handles 11.3 lakh cases every day. Such big and appreciable work they are doing. Okay, so therefore this is something, and actually they also say this thing, this doctrine, they also have highlighted the doctrine that judiciary must possess the power to compel payment of those sums of money which are reasonable and necessary to carry out its mandated responsibility. Judiciary should have power to make those payments which are important for the dispensation of judiciary, and this doctrine is the part of separation of powers. This is the part of the separation of power. In the separation of power, executive needs to be separate from judiciary, and if judiciary needs to be independent, they should also be having the power to control their own finances. Okay, so this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Now moving to the next article. Just a minute. Moving to the next article, ties that bind. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, India-Australia relation, GS paper number 2, IR, international relation. So basically guys, what has happened, recently Prime Minister visited Australia. Actually Prime Minister was recently on the 3-nation tour. He visited Japan, Papua New Guinea, fine, where the FIPIC summit was held. We have discussed this FIPIC summit also, and he has visited the Australia. So basically guys, originally the meet at Australia was scheduled to be a multilateral meet. How a multilateral meet? Because in Australia it was scheduled that the 4 leaders of the quadrilateral security dialogue, that is the USA, Japan, Australia and India, will meet, and they will be talking on the Quad sideline. So it was expected to be a multilateral meet in the Australia, but actually what happened, this meet turned to be a bilateral meet. Why? Because what happened, the US President Joe Biden said that he will not be able to come to Australia because of the domestic issues, debt selling issue, etc. that are going on there. So as he was not able to come to Australia, what happened, onto the sidelines, the Quad sideline meeting happened in Japan only. Why in Japan? Because guys, Japan, already all the G7 members and India came to the Japan, because Japan this year is hosting the G7 summit. So in the Japan G7 summit was there, India also went there, and all the 4 leaders, they have discussed the basic issues. However, when these Quad meetings happen, most of the times it is against the China, and they say the same things, that freedom of seas, freedom of navigation is to be ensured, rule-based order needs to be there, and all such kind of things. Now coming to the India-Australia part. So basically Prime Minister, as he has visited the Australia, okay, now both the leaders, Indian Prime Minister and Australian Prime Minister, has taken some good initiatives which will further strengthen the India Australia ties. Now basically what has happened, first of all, the prime minister has addressed the Indian community, and it was even said by the Australian Prime Minister that Indian Prime Minister has got the rock star welcome. Okay, so he had addressed the Indian community. Both the Australia and India, they have announced that there will be one Australian consulate that will be opened in Bangalore and an Indian consulate that will be opened in the Brisbane, so that the matters of the diaspora in each other's country can be taken up more properly. Then further, both the countries, they have also signed an agreement on migration and mobility. Agreement on migration and mobility. Now you might be knowing that a large number of Indian students, they are migrating to Australia for higher studies, even for employment, and they are getting settled also. So migration and mobility will take the matter of migration of Indian students to Australia, Indian people to Australia, and vice versa. Then they have also finalized the India Australia Green Hydrogen Task Force. Now already in this particular year's budget, India has come out with the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and India wants to become the hydrogen hub of the world. So India, Australia both will be working in this direction, and a task force has been taken up. Then they have also discussed to enhance the defense ties, security ties, okay, the cooperation on renewable energy, the cooperation on critical minerals, okay, all these particular things have been discussed. Moreover guys, already when we talk about the India Australia, they have signed the ECTA, that is Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. Now both the countries are looking forward to further sign the CEPA or CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. Now Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement is the broadest free trade agreement which covers the goods, services, investment, most of the things. So by December they are expecting that the CEPA will also be finalized. Okay, now further guys, on international front, we see this particular thing that both the countries have also taken the noting of the Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Western sanctions. Okay, though India has not specifically said that the Russia is responsible for the Russia-Ukraine war, but both of them have said that anyhow free and open Indo-Pacific is important, and to ensure free and open Indo-Pacific we need to deal with the aggressive China. Okay, now further what actually happened, the Prime Minister also said that the real reason, the real power behind the bilateral relation comes from the people of Indian origin who are living in Australia. From there this particular power comes. And in recent times we have seen that many attacks on the Indian students in Australia have happened. Moreover guys, there are also the community centers that have been defaced. Fine, there are the pro-Khalistani elements that have increased in Australia, anti-India graffiti, anti-India graffiti is like the spray paintings that are made, they are being made. So the Prime Minister had said that these things are needed to be taken carefully. Now the article's viewpoint is that this particular matter could not have been raised in the Australia. Now that is not only the objective thing, we can have a different opinion also, that Indian diaspora is the most important strength, and when it is the most important strength, we need to talk about that particular thing also. So the article says that actually there are the 3 Ds that have been given the Prime Minister, that is the democracy, diaspora and dosti. Okay, and all these 3 Ds were there at play. Okay, moving on to the next article. The Middle Kingdom dawns on India's west. Now we'll take this particular article guys with respect to the GS paper number 2, international affairs. Okay, and how the international affairs between the other countries will impact India's interest. We'll see this particular thing. So basically guys, what actually has happened recently, 32nd Arab League Summit was held. 32nd Arab League Summit was held. Now when we talk about the League of Arab States, when we talk about the League of Arab States, this 22nd League of Arab States, it was held in Jeddah, that is in Saudi Arabia. And when we talk about this League of Arab States, it is the grouping of 22 Arab countries, 22 members, 22 countries from the Arab region, they are the members of it. And in this particular 22nd Arab League Summit, what happened? There was this Jeddah Declaration that was signed. Now when we talk about this Jeddah Declaration, what this Jeddah Declaration was particularly important for, it called for stopping of the foreign interference in the domestic affairs of the Arab countries. Now you see this particular thing always, most of the time, particularly the USA has a lot of interest the Arab countries with whom they will be becoming friends, with whom they will be signing the bilateral agreements. A lot of interference is there. So they said that no such kind of foreign interference in the matters of the Arab countries will be tolerated, and they have categorically rejected that the Arab countries will not support formation of any armed group, any militia. Sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, they have supported the formation of such kind of a group. So it will not be done. This is something that was there. Now guys, when we talk about this particular Jeddah declaration, it has the political optics. Moreover, it also showed realism. Now understand this thing, Arab countries, though they have a lot of oil wealth, but socio-economic indicators are not very much good. Lot of political interference have happened which have actually impacted the development. They are taking the cognizance of this particular thing now. Now guys, when we talk about here, the Saudi Arabia is further showcasing itself as the leader of the Arab world, and India also further needs to leverage relation with the Saudi Arabia. Why? Because through Saudi Arabia we can reach the Arab world. Now when we talk about the Saudi Arabia, first of all guys, this basically the League of Arab Nations, the Jeddah declaration that has been signed, it is further consolidating the supremacy of Saudi Arabia within the Arab countries. Now first of all, when we talk about the Saudi Arabia, number one, has a lot of economic advantage. In 2022, Saudi Arabia's GDP grew by 8.7%. It was more than double than the UAE's growth. Okay, then guys, secondly, the Saudi Arabia, it has become the world's largest oil exporter. Their oil income grew by 51%, and therefore the Saudi Arabia is also a very important and influential member in the OPEC organization of petroleum exporting countries, OPEC and OPEC plus. Okay, moreover, basically Saudi Arabia, okay, Saudi Aramco, okay, this is the world's largest oil company. They have also a lot of spare capacity. They can make more oil, fine, and therefore further even they have now, see, Saudi Arabia is the largest exporter of oil, and even now they have the spare capacity so that they can do even more production in the future. So it shows that the Saudi Aramco, fine, this oil company, it is a very powerful, and further it will help in driving the oil income for Saudi Arabia. Now when we talk about the India's stake in the Arab world, guys, see, India has very high stakes in the Arab world. Why? Because number one, a lot of Indian diaspora is going there in the Arab world and is involved there. Secondly guys, as it comes into the India, as it is into the vicinity of India's extended neighborhood, and this particular region has also been the region where a lot of political issues, political troubles have been there also in the past. So basically stability in this region will actually be making the India's neighborhood sound and prosperous, which will be helping the India's. So we need to first of all acknowledge the geopolitical shift that are happening here. The Saudi Arabia, which is becoming more and more important and powerful country, and we also need to further leverage relation between India and Saudi Arabia. Now first of all, already India and Saudi Arabia, they enjoy cordial and good ties. Okay, but we further need to upgrade them, and how they can be upgraded. Number one, it has been said that Saudi Arabia prince should be re-invited to the India. His visit was postponed, so he should be re-invited to India, and actually he should be invited to the G20 summit. Okay, and this could be an opportunity for further enhancing the ties. Further, it has also been provided this particular thing that we need to synergize with the strategic partnership council at the various levels. Okay, at the different levels of trade, at the different levels of relations, the strategic partnership councils should be strengthened up, and we need to look the areas in which both the country India and Saudi Arabia can complement each other. Moreover, it is also time that a comprehensive economic partnership agreement should be brought, it should be upgraded. And moreover, see, now Saudi Arabia has taken the vision 2030, and by 2030 they want to upgrade their infrastructure, they want to upgrade their economy, and in vision 2030 India should also participate. Why? Because China is participating very vigorously in vision 2030. So by this particular things, closeness between the two countries will come. That is all guys about this particular article. Now moving to the next article, the fundamental value of the rupee. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3 issues related to the Indian economy. However guys, no need to go too much in detail in this particular article, because the article is going talking too much on this thing that a recent 2000 rupees withdrawal should not have happened, and all such kind of things are also there. But we will need to see the exam related concept. So basically the article says that the value of a currency value of dollar, value of rupee, value of yuan. These particular thing, the value of the currencies depend on multiple factors. Number one factor is the exchange rate that it commands in the international transaction, exchange rate of a currency. Okay, so if we see $1 is trading at around, let's say 80 rupees or something. I will take a round off figure. $1 is equal to 80 rupees. So this is the basically this is the exchange rate of dollar or rupee, you can say. If you will give 80 rupees, you will get $1. Okay, or if you give $1, you will get 80 rupees. Okay, so every currency has an exchange rate. There will be an exchange rate of dollar, rupee, yuan, yen, pound. So how good is that exchange rate? Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is the purchasing power of the currency within an economy over a period of time. Now guys, understand this thing. So 100 rupees could have bought a lot of things in 1990, but the same 100 rupees cannot buy the same things in 2023. So over a period of time, the same currency, can it buy the same number of things or not? If not, then the value of that particular currency has got degraded, and that happens by the inflation. So basically, how high inflation is there in a country, it will degrade the value of that particular currency. So high inflation means that 100 rupees could have been effective earlier, but not now today. So high inflation often erodes the value of currency over the time. So these are certain things. And then they say that actually apart from this, there are other parameter also, that is how much confidence the citizens have in accepting that particular currency. Okay, if the citizens, now see why US dollar is so strong, but why US dollar is so strong, it is not just that the people in USA are ready to accept the US dollar, but people in all the countries of the world are ready to accept the US dollar. You go in Thailand, they will be very happily accepting the US dollar. You go to Japan, they will very happily be accepting the US dollar. This is something. Now when we talk about, guys, the Reserve Bank of India, it is responsible in ensuring that people have a continued confidence in the rupee. Now what has happened? Recently Reserve Bank of India has announced that 2000 rupee note is being withdrawn from the circulation. They say that it will continue to be legal tender, but is being withdrawn from the circulation. Now question number one, if it is being withdrawn, people will not use it into the transaction. Confidence is being eroded, number one. Secondly, guys, it has been said that you have given the timeline of exchanging this money by the September 30. So basically Reserve Bank of India is justifying that it is a part of the clean note policy, but at the end of the day, as you have to exchange it by 30, now the confidence in 2000 rupee note particularly has been declined. Now it has been argued that such a high denomination is actually used by a very minuscule section of people, and this particular note was used to hold the black money, illegal money. But guys, already from so many of the months there was this speculation that was going on that the government might withdraw 2000 rupee note. So that thing arrangement also might have happened. Now the article says that demonetization happened in 2016. There also the Reserve Bank of India played an important role. Okay, that particular thing has slowed down the growth rate substantially. Now the 2000 rupees withdrawal is happening. Now guys, this particular kind of uncertainty that which currency note will prevail, which currency note will discontinue, it is not good for business. Withdrawing currency is not good for business. Okay, this is something that is there. Now when we talk about the Reserve Bank of India, it is sitting at the pinnacle, the apex of the country's financial system, and till now Reserve Bank of India had a very good reputation. Okay, but now these sudden policy actions, that is just outright demonetization in 2016, and now this withdrawal, it is not going good with the reputation of RBI. RBI needs to be careful in this particular direction. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. Now guys, this particular article basically we'll see with respect to the issues plaguing the human right organization. Fine, GS paper number 2, polity related issue, but you are not required to go too much in detail. So basically, guys, in India we have the NHRC, National Human Rights Commission. And NHRC, National Human Rights Commission in India, was set up under the Protection of Human Rights Act, which was passed by the Parliament in 1993. And this particular body is responsible for protecting the human rights for prisoner, human right for everyone. Fine. Now basically, guys, there is the United Nations body, that is the Global Alliance of National Human Right Institution. Now this particular body gives the rating to the human right institutions in the different countries. For example, we have NHRC in India, then the NHRC kind of body will be there in the USA, UK, France, Germany. So different countries and NHRC, they are given a rating by this UN recognized Global Alliance for National Human Rights. Now what they have done recently, they have deferred the accreditation of the National Human Rights National Human Rights Commission. Why they have deferred? Because they said that India's NHRC is not free. It has a lot of political interference in appointment. It has a lot of political interference in the police investigation, human right violations that had happened. They don't cooperate with the civil society. In a way, they are saying that they are not following the Paris principles. What is the Paris principle? In the Paris principles, there are the 6 main principles that are there. That is the mandate and competence. Mandate should be wide, competence needs to be there. Autonomy from government, independence guaranteed by a statute or constitution, pluralism, adequate resources and adequate power of investigation. These are the 6 Paris principles that have to be followed, and NHRC might not be following them properly. So because of this thing, that their accreditation, now guys, basically A status have usually been given to the has been given, but now it is being deferred. So this is all about it. And now the main practice question for today. So question says that the independence of district judiciary must also be equally part of the basic structure of the constitution. Comment. So this will be a 10 marker question for GS paper number 2. So that is all guys about today's session, and with this we come to an end. I hope that you have understood it. So that is all for guys.